I am back finishing some of my 5 for 5. I had not finished, it's been a busy week, so I had not finished a good deal of stuff. Well, I just not done any videos for anything because it's been testing at school this week and it has been quite busy. So I have just not have a whole lot of time. I'm going to do one video where these two books I'm going to put together that I finished. One of them was Field Guide to Haunted Highways and Bridges. And this one was by Dale Kaczmarek. This book was kind of a really just more describing where these bridges and haunted highways were. They would kind of give just random snippets of the stories of what is supposed to be haunted there. I'm just going to say, between these two books, I don't know what the deal is with people and chucking babies off of bridges, but apparently Indiana, what's your problem? Because every bridge in Indiana is apparently haunted. That one just was overwhelmingly in every one of these. I don't know if it's just Indiana, they have nothing else to haunt there but bridges, but just constant. And it got a little repetitive because the stories are generally the same. It makes me think that it's some sort of lore trope, some sort of urban legend folklore trope that is being used here repeatedly, because a lot of times it is the story of a distraught or unwed mother or whatever else who kills her child, and the bridge is involved, and then you just have what they call these crybaby bridges, which is just kind of such a general term. The other trope that gets used a lot is there was a bus full of children that somehow drove off of this bridge and everyone died, and therefore if you sit on the bridge, the little handprints, if you put powder on the back of your bumper or back of your car, you will see handprints and whatever else. That actually, I believe, has some scientific reasoning, that if you do put powder on your car, you more than likely it will soak up the oils of people's fingers who have been touching the vehicle. So it will look like handprints more than likely. So that seems to be what that is associated with so much. But it seems like there would be some sort of documentation. If we're talking school buses here, we're talking more recent. There would be documentation for all these buses that seem to be driving willy-nilly off of bridges and just crashing with carloads full of children. And there does not seem to be much documentation. So this seems to be just some sort of haunted trope that just keeps getting attached to bridges in different ways. Now, some of these are a little more specific. The very specific to the particular thing. You've got some that are to a specific murder. There is one in particular that there was a specific murder in Kansas that happened that was this guy knocked off his wife, and then the woman he was having an affair with knocked off her husband, but the wife was pushed off a bridge. It was all very specific to that murder. So in that case, you do have some documented cases and different things in here, but in general, not so much. In general, it is a copy of the same story over and over and over, and that's why this book kind of got boring, because it was just like, and this bridge has a bus that drove off of it, and this bridge has a Goatman, which is very oddly enough the overwhelmingly Goatmen showing up on stuff is a weird thing that just keeps happening in different things. The other book, which is better, was Haunted Bridges by Newman. This one kind of was strange to me because he goes by state in different stuff, but he doesn't mention one in Tennessee that is a very well-known one in Tennessee, the Drummond Bridge, which had to do with the Coal Creek War, where a man was executed off of the bridge during the Coal Creek War. He apparently killed a Muslim militiaman in a bar brawl. I think there was something like that, and he was executed off the bridge and is supposed to haunt it. And that is kind of a known story in Tennessee. This dude didn't mention it. The Newman did, and tells the story here. His are a little more literary, a little more capable of reading that type of a thing, it was just sitting down and reading. His are a little more interesting. He just writes it a little bit better. It's a little less of a field guide and a little more something you sit down and read. So of the two, this one is to me, the better book if you're just wanting to read something about haunted bridges. It's more readable. He tries to kind of collect the story part a little bit more too. And he also is a little more of a storyteller in the different things. And he mentions the Drummond Bridge, which, like I said, just weirded me. I found it was very odd that the other book went into great detail about where you find all these bridges and bridges that aren't even there anymore, and, you know, bridges that are on private property that you really shouldn't be around, which this one mentions some of those too, but bridges that you shouldn't really be around. And then he doesn't mention the Drummond Bridge, which is the one in Tennessee. I just expected to be in there, and it wasn't. And it was in this one. So, 2 haunted bridge books, one of them more readable than the other. But I will say, just reading about haunted bridges in general, probably not necessarily my cup of tea in all of this, because they just seem to all have the same layout, except for a few random outliers here or there. They all have the same layout as a haunting. It's either a bus killing a bunch of children. You have, some of them are lynchings that no one could ever actually like document and know anything about. The Crybaby Bridge situation, and Goatmen. I don't understand the creatures on the bridge thing, where that's coming from, but that one seems to be pretty common. So, yeah, haunted bridges, maybe not the most interesting haunted thing on earth I have found in my reading about them. But at least that's 2 of my 5 books done. I actually have 2 others done, so I have 1 left on here. But 2 of the 5 before you buy, so 4 of the 5 before you buy done at this point.